All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
G'day guys, Chaos Chronicles. Alright, so today we're going to talk about the slot, the hole, the pokey, segregation, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, when you have been a naughty boy and you get sent to these places. Alright, so a lot of people wanted to hear about the time when I done 19 months in the slot, 23 hours lockdown, handcuff regime, the whole lot. I actually, because of that, was going to call this channel Handcuff Regime, but I didn't. And yeah, so all right, let's have a chat about that. So I had been moved to a medium security prison. I'm not going to use any names here because just because if you know, you know. Anyway, I was moved to a medium security prison. I'd served like 6.5 years out of my 9-year sentence, and the big riots took place at MRC. And yeah, if you know, you know, that really shook the whole Victorian prison system up. I believe it shook the whole prison system up Australia-wide. Because the smoking ban was happening Australia-wide, apparently. But, yeah, so I got shipped there, and as a matter of fact, I had a walking stick at the start. My MS was really bad. And so anyway, cut a long story short. So when I got moved there, me and a couple of my good mates got moved there too. So I had a pretty good crew of mates there, and my cousin was there as well. And yeah, shout out to Baz. And yeah, so my cousin was there as well, and it was just a good little environment. It was the first time I'd ever been to medium security, and I was tripping out. I was spinning out at the way things were run and the things that people were allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do at other prisons, and I just was spinning out at how different it was. And to be honest, like, the caliber of people was a lot different too. And yeah, so anyway, I'll just say it straight up. There was heaps of suspects there, and yeah, these ones. So we were there, and it's pretty much fair to say that when we rocked up, I had actually, there was one mate there, there's a well-known mate that had been there for a while, and well, a month or two anyway, and had made a bit of a foothold in the jail, and had started to make this other crew of people angry, right? And the thing was, so this other crew of people were all first-timers, never been to jail, were somebody's outside, and thought that was going to follow over to inside. Now, I've explained that in other videos before. Chopper says it the best way in his movie. You're just another bear bum in the shower, mate. And like, that's exactly what it is. You might be gangster outside, but you're not gangster inside. Yeah, some people are, but most people get put in their place pretty soon. And so anyhow, this group of people, when we got there, we kind of noticed a bit of a thing, you know. So it was talked about in our mates, with our mates. You know, keep an eye out for this group of people. And so earlier on in the day, something happened with one of our mates, like sidekicks or whatever. It wasn't one of our crew, but it was one of our mates, right? And so someone had clipped him, which just so happened to be a member of this other gang, right? So anyway, I sent one of our runners. I said, right, this is what you're doing. You got to run in there and you got to take care of this situation for us. He's like, yep, no worries. It's like 2 minutes later, this dude comes back to us, busted up, like they messed him up, right? And then so that was it. We were like, right, that's it. We're not putting up with this anymore. Let's just go deal with it ourselves. And so there was like me and 3 other like really staunch mates there, you know, and so we told someone to go tell them, and this is at a medium security jail. They're just massive, you know what I mean? They've got big walking parks, tennis courts, all the rah-rahs. And so anyway, we said, meet us on the tennis court. And so we all armed up and went out to the tennis court like World War III was about to start, right? And so when we went out there, keep in mind, we're all armed up, right? And so we go out there and there's only 4 of us. Like legit, there was 4 of us and like 15 of them, and they all come over like. And when something like this happens in prison, like it's a spectacle. It is like it gets boring in jail. So when something like this happens, you can just feel it in the air. You know, there's certain sounds like shoes on the ground making that sound what they make on basketball courts. You know that's a fight. There's certain sounds in jail. And anyway, so it was kind of about to kick off, and so I was making it deadly certain that we don't care who you are, mate. You might have been here for 2 years, but you and your boys ain't telling us what to do, and that's as simple as that. And so, like, it was literally about to kick off, and whether someone or not told the screws rocked up anyway. So they must have, they might have seen it on the cameras. I don't know, but either way, the screws rocked up, and we broke off. And so, anyway, we all go back to the table and we have a chat. Do you know what I mean? And we just say that this is it. It's not going to go on. It's not going to happen anymore. So I need you to know that I can't tell you detail for detail what happened here, and I just can't tell you what happened. I will be very careful. And so anyhow, we kind of got challenged. So we were going to challenge them and say, righto, you and you get in the cell with you and you, and let's sort this shit out, right? But they challenged us, and I was like, all right, let's go. And so anyway, I went to my mate's cell, and anyway, funnily enough, the like leader of the other crew came into the cell that I was waiting in, and yeah. So what? Anyway, fast forward. I don't know, 10 minutes. Allegedly, I'm seen on camera dragging this dude from that cell to another cell, right? Allegedly, it was me. That there was no facial recognition. They were just going off by what I was wearing and what I was seen on the cameras wearing earlier. So anyway, they said it was me. This guy was dragged back to his cell and put in the shower, and that's where he was found. And anyway, so fast forward maybe 2 hours, and so it had happened. So let's just say that their crew got taken out, right? And so when something like this happens, like it's not every day that, like, yeah, fights happen every day, but it's not every day that a whole crew gets taken out in one go. And so anyway, about 2 hours later, I had 2 of my mates. They were walking around the yard, and whatever happened with them, I don't know. I can't tell you. And so they got grabbed. So actually what happened was, because it was so serious, the guy that they alleged that I was dragging from my cell to another cell, so allegedly he passed away and regained consciousness like 15 minutes later. So there was a time there where he wasn't alive. And so anyway, because they didn't know who done it, we all basically got plastered with attempted murder charges. And so anyway, I'll tell you. So anyway, them guys get taken, and then it was basically just me and another dude, and we're going like, damn, what's going on here? I wonder why they took them guys. And you know, it kind of felt like they were going to come and get us. So, you know, fast forward to lockup time. It's lockup time. Everything's sweet. They haven't come and got me. And I was like, oh, well, they obviously don't think that I've done anything. And I didn't. But, like, anyway. So the next morning comes, me and this other dude are walking around. And then next thing you know, they call his name to the office, right? And we knew they were going to grab him. And then they grabbed him. And then I was kind of like walking around. And like it got to the point where I'm like, geez, I hope they grab me. It started to look sus that I was the only one that didn't get grabbed. So yeah, 10 minutes later, I get grabbed. And so I asked them, I said, why are you grabbing me? So anyway, they grabbed me in the middle of the yard. They put handcuffs on me. So Barwon security came. And so I'm going to do a video on Barwon security. They're the ones that they call the SESG. and they're the ones that mean fucking business. Like, they will muff you up, I'm telling you. And like, mate, they are the enemy, but I'm telling you, those animals train all day, every day to punch our heads in, and that's exactly what they do. Like, they never do it one-on-one, but they mean absolute business. And so basically, Barwon Security came to investigate or whatever, and I was in the slot, and I'm like, listen, why did you even grab me for? Like, what's going on? And they said, well, we believe that we seen you dragging, and when I say my cell, it wasn't actually my cell they were alleging, it was someone else's cell close to my cell. And so they said that we allege that that's you dragging that person from that cell to his cell. And I said, look, I don't know what you're talking about. That's it. I'm not saying nothing. And so anyway, I get put in the slot, and we didn't know what's going on, right? And so basically, when we were all in the slot, the governor of the jail had came into the slot and said, the guy that was attacked, one of the guys that was attacked is on life support, and we don't think he's going to pull through. And so we hadn't been charged at this time. And then, fast forward about an hour later, so in the cells where they put you in the slot at the jail where I was, I think there's only like 8 cells there. But anyway, there's a big TV in the box, like at the watch houses, they're behind the plastic. You can't change channel and that. You can't turn it up or down. And so anyway, it's dead silent. And then on the news, next thing you hear, a medium security prisoner at so-and-so prison has been bashed to death, dragged to his cell, put in a shower. They said all this stuff on there and said that thankfully he was brought back to life, but he is on life support and it doesn't look like he's going to pull through. Said local detectives are investigating. And then so I yelled out, hey, did you hear the news? And then I was like, shut up, at the same time. And then the next day, the governor came in with a detective and said that, we're here and we want to talk about what happened yesterday. And we're all in the cells, and because we're and we just start yelling out, fuck off, mate, fuck off, no comment. And like let him know that we wouldn't be talking to him. And then next thing you know, we all get a piece of paper slipped under our cell door, and that was our charge sheet. And it was, for me, attempted murder and one other dude, and then the other dude's got like some other serious assault charges. And so anyway, this was the start of my slot. And so this was like day 1 and 2. I had 19 months to go. And like the jail that I was at, because of the conditions in the jail, I've got multiple sclerosis, and my multiple sclerosis started acting up and I couldn't walk properly. And that jail didn't want to deal with me, so they actually moved me back to Port Phillip. And so, bang, next thing you know, I'm in the spine at Port Phillip. And if you guys know about the spine at Port Phillip, that is the worst slot out of all jails in Victoria. Like, it is the absolute lowest. So all you have in there, so in the slot, all you have, so when you're in the spine on LOPs, which stands for loss of privileges, all you have is a mattress, maybe if you're lucky, a dirty rotten pillow, no sheets, no nothing, a horse blanket, and that is it. And you are in there for 14 days, loss of privileges. You can have one phone call a day, and you have one 1 hour run out per day in your cell. But they always make the spine go at like 7 o'clock in the morning, so no one ever goes on a run out because they want to sleep in. The way I look at it, if you can sleep your slot time away, well, then you're doing well. And so yeah, that's what I do. But anyway, 19 months, right? This was the start of my 19 months, and the craziest thing happened there. So I was kicking up a stink because they weren't taking me to hospital because they wouldn't move me. So first thing I did was, so I'd done my 14 days, and then I thought I'm going to wait to kick up a stink, and then I flooded my cell, right? Because they weren't listening to me. So basically you block up the doors, you block up everything, and then block up your toilet, block up your sinks, block up your shower, and then just keep flushing and turn all the taps on. And if you block your door good enough, next thing you know, you've got a pool in your cell. You let that bottom water go, and it's like a waterfall. If you're on the top tier, anyway, I've done that. So bang, I'm straight back in the spine, right? They call it the spine, which is where you do 14 days, and then you go back into a unit which is called Charlotte, right? Which is still basically the same as the spine, but you're allowed to have a kettle, your writing pad, books, and you've got your TV. And there's about maybe 40 different blokes in there. And it is like 24 hours a day, loud as industrial banging, like it's impossible to sleep in there, right? But anyway, I had flooded my cell. And so, anyway, I got put back into LOPs. I was kicking up a stink on there. They wouldn't give me my medication. Basically, I'd done another 14 days, went back into my cell. They didn't give me my TV for one night. So I smashed my kettle up and lost the plot and got put back in there for another 14 days. And so anyway, in this time, I got all my mates saying, bro, stop it. Like, you're going to go crazy, and they were putting me in the padded cell and, really trying to damage me, but like, out of all my time in jail, especially in my 9-year sentence, I'd done over 3 years in the slot for sure. And like, so I was just used to it. And to be honest, I like my own company. And so I'm not one of these people who does it really hard. I actually, I don't know. I don't do it like other people. And so basically, cut a long story short, the guy that was on life support pulled through, and so they put together a brief, and me and another bloke were charged with attempted murder, and another bloke was charged with, another two blokes were charged with some kind of assault on other prisoners, right? And the other dude on another prisoner. So anyway, obviously I can't talk about what the other boy's done. That's none of my business, and I won't cross that line. So basically, I spent like maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 5 months in Charlotte. Done a few stints down in the spine on LOPs for kicking up a stink. I always speak my mind, and it usually gets me in trouble. And so anyway, I got moved from there, and I done maybe 10 months, in Scarborough North. Scarborough North was a slot at the time. After the riots, they turned Scarborough North into the slot, one of the Alexes. So they turned one of the boneyards into the slot. So it's the mainstream unit now. And it's like, I think it's Alex South or Alex. I think it's Alex South. And anyway, I'd done a few months in there and then went back to Charlotte for a month. And then I got cleared from Charlotte. But I got moved around and I ended up doing 19 months. And to be honest, I probably would have got let out maybe 12 months earlier had I kept my mouth shut, had I not done stupid shit to get me put in the slot. And so basically the reason that I got released from the slot was because one morning I got this bit of paper under my door and said that all charges have been dropped due to lack of witness evidence. And so I was pretty stoked about that because obviously I didn't do it. And I was pretty stoked about that. But I actually used that. And that was a part because at the start, like I thought this guy wasn't, I thought he was dead. So like I thought I'm doing another 20 years. So that was my mindset at the time. So doing 19 months in the slot didn't even matter, And then, yeah, before I got out of the slot, I kind of had an epiphany, I was like, I'd nearly done 7 years at the time. And I was like, I've had enough. I've really just had enough. And, I vowed that I was gonna get out of this gang culture and just do my jail time with me and not get myself into trouble for, stupid shit. And so, I started to do that and started to change my life. And what was really good about it is people could see that that's what I was doing and they were starting to follow suit. And so, yeah, and that's what I done. And so obviously I had 2 years to go, and yeah, some crazy things happened in that 2 years. I caught a bird. I caught a cockatiel. So it obviously was someone's pet that they just owned, didn't know how to talk or didn't know any tricks. It taught me 3 months. It used to come back at the same time every day and get a feed off me. And so one day I just put my hand out and he jumped on my hand. So I kept him. And that's a story in itself. I won't tell you the rest of it, but the bird helped me change my life as well. And the jail, actually, cut a long story short, the jail took him off me for a few months. And the lady, I said, you can't just let him go. I've clipped his wings now and he can't fly. He will die. And so one of the screws took him home, rah, 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 said, I can't believe how smart this bird is, how well looked after it is. This bird, I kid you not, so I had him trained that if anyone walked in my cell that wasn't myself, and I had his bird cage under the bed before I was allowed to have him, I've been through strip searches with this bird and everything. I'd put him under my armpit and I'd rip my jumper off and rip him off into my sleeve of my jumper. And he made it through every single strip search. Well, he made it through 3. And they don't really check your clothes. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't believe it. And he made it through. But I made a little cage out of a box and took the round bit off my fan. You know how it's round and it's got those wires? It was kind of like a cage. And that was the front of his cage. And anyway, he used to just bang, dart in there when the screws come. And all that stuff helped me in changing my life, you know. And like, I'm not going to lie, when I got out, I was doing well. I started my own business and then I fell back into street life again and actually done another sentence before I fully pulled my head in. But yeah, that is the slot, guys. It is 23 hours lockdown. You have nothing. You have one phone call a day. You can't do anything. You don't have any privileges. You do not have the same canteen list as the normal people in jail. Like, the slot is shit. And when you are in there, you are absolutely 100% forgotten about. And yeah, so yeah, cut a long story short, charges were dropped, and I made a point to start to change my life. And the funny thing was, because I got locked up in 2010, YouTube wasn't that big, but I always had it in my heart that I wanted to do this. I wanted to tell my story, and I wanted to get here online and help anyone who wants to get away from this life and just remind them how shit it is. I'm a prime example. I spent all of my adult life in prison because of the life I lived. My kids missed out on most of their childhood because of me. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that you can never take back, you know. And trust me, it is hard on your family. And like, so I done that in my last video. I explained how much shit your family goes through, and this is all raw stuff what happens to people in jail, guys. So absolutely don't want to do it. So anyway, that's my story of the slot. I have been Big Biff or Chaos. It is your choice. And this is the Chaos Chronicles, and this is what I do, guys. I tell you my stories and try and steer you away from that life. And like I say always, I'm not a preacher. I'm a prime example. And yeah, if anyone could just take a leaf out of my book and they can see, and reading the comments and knowing that my videos are helping people get away from that life is the most humbling feeling I've ever had in my life. So, yeah, onwards and upwards from here, guys. I've got big things in plans. Our interviews are going to start soon, where it's me and another person talking. Then I'll put them videos out of them talking about their crazy life in gangs, fight clubs, prisons, whatever. And so I've got a few people, and we're going to get that going hopefully next week. So watch this space. Big things are coming. All right, guys. Chaos Chronicles. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already done that. Hit that bell. That way you'll never miss any of my videos. You'll get notifications. And I will see you, crew, the Chaos crew, in the next video. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Ciao.
I am also the guy who decides if you and your friends walk out of here or not.